Hi, welcome back to my channel. This is episode 3 of Sofa Sessions with. My name is Gemma Barnes and I'm a vocal coach and singing teacher, and joining me today for this episode is Xena from the Showbiz Clinic. Hi Xena, how are you?
Hello, I'm very well, thank you. How are you doing?
Good, yeah, really good, thank you. Do you want to start us off by just kind of giving us a little bit of an intro about you and about the Showbiz Clinic? That'd be great.
Yeah, so I work as a choreographer in theatre and some film. I was a performer for, oh God, it feels like a very long time, but about 12 years. Along that way, I'd always choreographed. I set up my first production company when I was just still in my third year at LIPA. And that show ended up going on a national tour, which, you know, when I say I did every job, I literally did do every job. The van driver, you know, ordering costumes, designing the set, booking the tour, you know, performing in it. I did the lighting, I mixed the sound, I did absolutely everything. So that was a huge learning curve for me. And since when I did that, I learned that, okay, what I'm good at is performing in choreography out of all of those jobs. So I sort of focused on that and sort of went between different worlds, between the commercial dance world, doing like pop artist things and music videos, a couple of tours, to then some a little bit corporate, and then into hip hop theatre. So I was heavily into the hip hop dance scene, and I wanted to mix my, you know, my jazz and my contemporary, my theatre background, and make that my sole sort of area of expertise. So that's what my show was at. My show was a hip hop theatre show for children. And then I moved into musical theatre. I always vowed I would never go into musical theatre. It was not my thing. And then I sort of moved into it quite seamlessly. And then after that, I decided I wanted to become solely a creative and a choreographer, because I did choreograph along the way for people like Adidas, Rita Ora. I did a Renault Clio advert, but they were just sporadic over 10 years. So at the end of that 10-year period, I decided I just want to be a pure creative choreographer working in musical theatre and film. So we went on to the first sort of major thing for me as a creative was Bat Out of Hell, the musical. And that was in the West End. That was also, we went to America a couple of times. And I just found myself putting up a show on a Broadway theatre. Just been like, what is my life? Like, how did a girl from a small town in Scotland end up, you know, working on Broadway, which had always really been the dream, was to be leading a company and to work on in New York. I fell in love with New York in my early 20s, and since then it was always like, I want to work in New York. And so that happened. So that's a sort of overall performing into creative choreographer role. And then, you know, the pandemic sort of just turned everything upside down. But we're 3 days away from flying to New York again for the third time to do the show over in America, and then everything shut down. And so I decided to make the Showbiz Clinic. It started off as coffee mornings, and it was just sort of tackling things from the business side of showbiz, things that I think that performers and creatives are just not taught, and the soft skills of, you know, how to run yourself as a successful business. And I think we forget that in the industry quite a lot. Yeah. So I'd start to tackle different topics, and then it grew into a really international audience and community. And so I turned that into a membership program, and now I run online courses covering these topics and a membership. So they have constant support and guidance, industry experts, just to like absolutely own their career, because that's what I'm so passionate about, people just fulfilling their potential. You don't have to rely on someone else to, you know, give you the job. You can go out and you can create your own opportunities, and you can really give yourself the best chance at this. So that's why I made the Showbiz Clinic.
Cool. Yeah, sounds great. Wow, your career's super impressive as well. Like, it's really nice to see as well that you can enter different parts of the industry from other parts. I think very often people think, okay, well, I do this one thing, or I'm in this box of the industry and that's where I sit, and they don't sort of think they can move across and stuff like that. So it's really nice to hear that it's doable. Like you can change sort of genres a little bit. You can go from being a performer to a creative. You can run both alongside each other, and to then be able to like create. Obviously, you've got so much knowledge and background that is so useful to so many people. And you're absolutely right. I mean, it's not something, if you're at college, you're just not really taught how to market yourself and how to look at yourself as a business. I know for me personally, it took me years, like probably 5, maybe 8 years in the industry to think, oh, actually, I'm selling myself. And you don't want to have to waste 8 years or whatever realizing that you need to do that, because by that point some people have left the industry because they couldn't work it out. So what you do is so needed, and it's awesome that you've got such an international audience as well. That's really cool.
Yeah, it's all on the mindset. Like I think people, and I think that training, the mindset, like I'm big on mental resilience and just your well-being and wellness, because at the end of the day there's so much more to life than this job, and the more you give yourself a life outside of the limelight, I call it, you actually have more energy to put back into the job, and it's like a win-win. I think like really like understanding your mindset and having strategies to tackle it is just so important for people to get ahead, and
definitely
continue to grow in their chosen profession.
And you look at that as well, don't you? Within the Showbiz Clinic and within the membership and the courses and everything that you run, it's not just what you're doing when you're in the industry. It's kind of what you're doing outside of the industry and what you can run, how you can run your life, I guess, and your career outside of the industry as well as in, which I think is really so useful. Because you spend so much time, don't you, out of you're not always in a job.
That's it. It's not a 9 to 5, Monday to Friday for the next 20 years. It's like it's encompasses so much. And I think so many skills that performers have are way more transferable than they think. Like if they wanted to like get a 6-month corporate job, or they maybe take a year and a half out and like really get themselves financially steady, if they wanted to do that or needed to do that, the skills that they have are so transferable. And if you wanted or needed to do that as an option, it's how you package it. Everything's just how you package it, how you package it to certain different groups of people. It's the same skills, but you're just packaging it slightly different to suit their needs.
Definitely.
I think that works for like auditions as well, and just running yourself in the industry. I'd often be between being a hip hop dancer and the underground scene in London, like hanging out at Trocadero when that was a thing, and Madame Jojo's when that was still a thing, on a Thursday night. But then I'd go to a commercial shoot, for an artist, which is a bit more, very different vibe to a hip hop scene. So it's like different hats, but at the end of the day, it all comes under you. You are the brand, and it's all these offshoots that come from it. So, you're the through line of it all.
Yeah, absolutely. It shows how versatile you can be as well, doesn't it? Which is so important. So you said as well about kind of having different hats. I mean, as well as having different hats, how important do you think it is to have a team around you? I mean, the Showbiz Clinic isn't just you, it's all your members, it's everyone that you pull in and different resources you use. And how important is it to have like a supportive and supportive team around you?
So one of the main sort of structures within the membership that I talk about a lot, and I dive into it quite often, and it's in all the courses, is build your team to build your dream. And I'm huge on like having your dream team around you to help you manifest your desired dream or outcome. So, and any business has this. Any business has the marketing person, they have the operations manager, they have the star of the show, shall we say, the face of the company, of the the tea person that goes out and gets coffee because these people are too busy to do that. But that's a team. That's like a dream team for any business. So as a performer, how does that work or a creative, how does that work for us? And that could be, for example, at one point I had 2 life coaches. I had one that was a business coach and one that was a life coach, and I had a stylist, and I had a PT, I was making good money at this point because I was on a really good creative job as a choreographer, and I was enjoying my life. So I decided to invest some of that money I was making into
Yeah.
building my team, because I was like, okay, the next level of the dream needs me to
Yeah.
be coached.
And it's investing in yourself, isn't it, by pulling these people on board?
Exactly. And that's only going to get you further. So, this is you can sort of like almost like your physio could be in your team. Like, you have the person that you go to, the person that, if you need to get a copywriter in to just really make your website stand out, that's on your team. And all of these things are all elements and components to build your business and build your brand as a performer. So I think having that team around you is such a great thing to bring up, because I think people don't even consider it. They're just, I'll do it because I can do it all, but actually you can to a degree, but it'll only hinder you in the end. So, so for example, I've got an operations manager, I've got a social media manager and a PA. And that's just within a year of the Showbiz Clinic. They all work sort of ad hoc or part-time, or in an ideal world, I'll have a full-time team. But, they're still in my team. And I always say you're better together. It's so I do think that performers need to really sit down and think, okay, who's your dream team? Like, is there like a celebrity stylist that you're like, whenever I go to a press night, I want that stylist to pick me out the best outfit, because the images that you're going to get from that are then going to be used on your website, which you're then going to send to the absolute top agent in the US to get you that Broadway show. Like, for example, like that's how it's called, like reverse engineering. So that's the goal, is on the Broadway show, for example. Okay, and all these components are like reverse engineering it back to where you are right now.
Yeah.
And so that's why it is the investment, because the return is Broadway. So
yeah.
And then from there it could be a Netflix show like Patti LuPone. It's allowing yourself to think big and then reverse engineering it. Okay, who do I need around me?
Yeah.
To build the skills and to build my dream.
Yeah, definitely. That's such a good way to look at it. So what advice would you give? Let's look at people that have been in the industry maybe for a while, that either have obviously had to take this year out or look in other directions, or maybe they've been out of the industry and they're coming back in, or they've just been in it a while. What's your advice to those sort of performers?
Yeah, there's definitely a bit of a hump or a plateau. And this year, well, not this year, but just, 2020 into 21 so far has been a bit meh for so many people. And I think if you've been in the game for a while, it might be easy to lose the mojo, lose your motivation. Or maybe you've got still loads of motivation, but you maybe lack the confidence because of the time out. Or I used to get in my head, because basically all the things I'm talking about, I was always sort of doing, but making so many mistakes along the way. And I did get to a point at about 5 or 6 years in as well, where I thought, this just isn't for me. Like, it's very hit and miss, my results on things. And I get things really right, or I get it really wrong. And what I'm teaching people is to not get it really wrong like I did. But yeah, I did sort of have that point where I was like, I'm not quite getting what I should be doing. I ended up persevering, but what I wish I'd done was got in myself the stylist, the coach, the life coach, the business coach, whatever kind of coach, and build my team at that point. And I think I could have, and it was my mindset that kept me back most of the time. So the minute I started to read books and I started to go to more seminars and got into Tony Robbins and Abraham Hicks, and started to just delve into that world of the mind a bit more. I started to harness it a bit more, which actually was then a big jump for me in my career, like as a performer as well as a creative. I think, you can't do this alone, and we all plateau, and every business owner, no matter what sector they're in, they have their own coaches and influences and advice and advisors. So there's no shame in sort of, not scrapping the last however many years, but just resetting yourself.
Yeah.
Because you have to design it. So if you don't design it, it doesn't just happen. I use her all the time, but Patti LuPone, I just think she's amazing. I met her a couple of times and she's just like, I love her. So we share the same agent. So it was just like the coolest thing. My agent was in
Wow.
London and he was like, so I'm in London. He's from New York and well, the agency's in New York. And he's like, I'm in London. Do you want to come see Patti? I'm going to go see company. I was like, yes. So I'm sitting there with him watching the show, and I went to her dressing room. She's got a bodyguard outside her dressing room and things.
Really?
She's got like an ice machine and like a demystifier thing. And I was just like, and she was so fabulous. Like, and I just thought she didn't just like wait for that, all that. She did not just wait for that she did not just suddenly have a bodyguard, right? She like standing outside her dressing room. I mean, how extra is that? But like, you know, that didn't just happen for her. She designed that, and she was clear in her vision. So I think if anyone's struggling at the moment, it's completely understandable but things can be turned around, like as of today, tomorrow, as of yesterday, they can be turned around. So, but you need the right people to help you get focused, the right people to help you get excited, and clarity equals confidence. So as soon as you've got more clarity on where you want to be, then you've got the confidence to action some strategies to get you there, like reverse engineer everything.
Yeah, definitely. It's kind of like pressing the reset or refresh button, isn't it? Like, and you're not expected to be able to do everything. Like, you don't have to be an incredible performer, an incredible creative. You don't have to also be able to do your own accounts and create your own website and do this and do that. And you can, even if it's just like little bits of help and assistance from different people, like that is part of your team, isn't it? So it absolutely is. You don't take your own headshots. So
exactly,
it's exactly the same as that.
I couldn't agree more. It's just, you just have to, and I speculate to accumulate as well. You know, you have to speculate some investment of time, money, emotions to be able to get the result. There's a great quote that I'm just sort of living by at the minute, which is, I was watching Rocket Man, and he says in there, you have to kill who you were born to be to become who you're meant to be. And I just love that. So I was like, you can't get forward if you're stuck in the past self.
Yeah.
You have to shed the skin to like be able to grow new skin.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's like just taking a leap of faith almost, and resetting, but having the structure and the support to move you along.
So what advice, we've looked at people that are existing creatives or performers within the industry, what advice would you give to new graduates, to people that have either graduated in 2020, like mid-pandemic, and then people that are obviously about to graduate now in 2021?
Anyone that graduated in 2020 will forever be remembered. They'll never be forgotten. That will never, ever be forgotten. And using that story as a way to build your business is the best way for me. So I graduated in 2008. So it was in the middle of the recession. I've just given away probably how old I am, but I graduated in 2008. And everyone was like, there's no jobs. Like, you've just wasted 3 years of your life, all this money. What on earth are you going to do? Yeah, I was struggling to find opportunities for auditions. So I was like, okay, I'll just make my own show. So I made my own show, got my own funding, booked the tour, auditioned people, paid them, paid myself. I was bringing shows to theatres. You know, they were bringing people in. I put money back into the economy by booking Airbnbs. That was in the recession, when everyone was like, oh my God, you know, there's nothing out there. Everybody was freaking out. Okay, it wasn't quite level of pandemic, but I chose to like rewrite the story almost. And that then propelled me onto the trajectory of the rest of where I am now. I wouldn't be doing the Showbiz Clinic or choreographing on Broadway had the recession not happened, really. I think maybe eventually, but so use it as fuel. We all got given some lemons, and I just decided to make like margaritas with the Showbiz Clinic.
Yes.
So it's like, how do you what can you create for yourself? Like you can be employing yourself, and the best thing is when you can start to employ other people or give other people opportunities. So what do I say to people that graduate in 2020? 2020, use the narrative of I graduated in a pandemic, you know, I've done all this training and I've had a year and a bit out and all this and all that. You are better equipped to deal with the new world than people pre 2020.
Yeah.
Because they have been trained a certain way to deal with certain situations in the industry. And 20 people that graduate in 2020 have had full amount of training. You know, they didn't miss any, well, you know, they got most of their final training in 2020. And, you know, so they're physically, their body knows, and their voice and everything, it knows what it needs to do at its peak. And so they've lived through the pandemic. So they know, you know, what the world has been through and what they've had to go through, and using that story to get them ahead is maybe a bit existential, but I actually think is really powerful if they decide to do that. The people that graduate in 2021, they're at the best position. Even though they've had less sort of in-person training, they have had training continuously up to the point where the industry is just starting to open up again. And they've been prepared for the new way, the new world, shall we say, the best. So I do think that 2021 grads are fine. I think 2020 grads need to just turn the narrative around, use the story as fuel, and create stuff. Like you create your own opportunities. You can do that. And you never know where those opportunities will lead you. So by me doing that show when I was 20, when I graduated, and taking that show on the road, meant that I then got picked up to choreograph something else in Scotland, which did another Highlands and Islands tour. And then I got picked up by Sadler's Wells and got asked to perform a solo at Sadler's Wells. And then, like, you know, the things just, but I created that opportunity in the beginning. I wasn't given a tour to sort out, but because of all that, I then ended up doing a solo at Sadler's Wells, you know?
Yeah.
It was about 3 years later, but it was still because of that show.
Mm.
So, yeah, I think you can always just turn the narrative around and just use it as fuel. Don't know if that really answers the question. It might be a bit too out there. One thing I would say, though, that anyone that is graduated or has just graduated, or anybody actually in the industry, they need to understand how to market themselves. They just need to understand that the world has gone online. It's not going away. It's going to be even more so. Castings are now, the first round of castings, they're done by self-tape for musicals. The cattle call days are gone. So, you know, get good and get comfortable and just accept that your presence has to be online with a website, your social media, all the platforms. You know, have your ear to the ground for new platforms like Clubhouse, or go to LinkedIn. There's lots of people on there that are making the decisions around LinkedIn. Don't hang out where your friends are hanging out, because they're not going to employ you. Well, they might, but you're more likely to be around the right people in places like LinkedIn and Clubhouse, and maybe Twitter. Like, interact with the producers, the investors, casting directors. Just that is a part of the business now, 100%, and it's not going anywhere. It will not go back. So that is the thing I would say, is just get comfortable online and get, I call it Googleable, like be completely Googleable. I don't think it's even a word, but you know, you want someone to put your name into Google and it's like website, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Clubhouse, whatever, it's all there and it's all professional.
Yeah, definitely. That leads me quite nicely actually onto my next question. How important is social media and having an online presence, do you think?
I mean, it's massive. It's not, like I say, it's not going anywhere at all. In fact, we've just accelerated ourselves about 5 to 6 years, the scientists say, as to where like society would be with the online stuff. So we're like 5 to 6 years sort of in the future of where it was going anyway. But massive, it's so massive now. And it's not like, if you've got 10 followers or 10,000 or, you know, 100,000 followers, it doesn't actually matter. Unless like you're going for that whole vibe. If you're going that route, fine, like you do you. But as someone who's like on the casting panel making decisions, and we might Google someone if we're like, okay, let's get a better sense of them, especially now we're just getting a self-tape for a first round.
Yeah.
I'm much more likely to search them and just be like, what else comes up? What's their vibe? Do I want to be bringing them into the final round, which is the only round we'll do in person, when I've got a select few because I've got limited numbers because of COVID. So I've got to be really select. So I'm going to dig in, like, because when someone chooses you for a show, it's not like, are they right for the show and that's it. It's like, what's the chemistry going to be like with that person and the 15 other people we're going to choose? And it is literally a little chess game that you sit down with the director and the casting director and the producer and the musical supervisor, and you like move everybody's headshot around, and you're like, you get a sense of someone, a sense of self. So, you know, I want to know if that person is going to be a bit of bad energy, maybe, but they're perfect for the role, but they're bad energy. So we're not going to take them. We're going to take someone else, and we're going to actually move them around like that. So it's like a little chess game. So if I'm getting the first round, you know, which is going to be happening on the next show I'm working on, it is self-tape for the first round. And I'm going to probably Google, we'll sit there and we'll probably just do a bit of a search. And the first place people go is Instagram now. And then I'll probably Google their name and see what comes up. What are you saying to me when I search you? What do you want to say when I search you? You want to get a bit of personality across, and you want to get that you're confident, and you want to get that you're professional and that you're good at what you do, basically. I don't want to see pictures of your dog. Don't want to see pictures of you like with your mates. Like, you know, I want to see that you're reinforcing to me that you're confident in your abilities. And the odd thing here and there to like know you're a human doing life things is great. But I'm searching you because I'm choosing whether I want to put you in a job.
Yeah. Like, so it's going for like a more professional, like having maybe videos of your work and clips of relevant stuff basically on your social media, rather than it being a platform for friends. I mean, at the end of the day, as much as that's fun, that's not going to help you get work.
No, it won't. So I always use the 80-20 rule. So it's, if, for example, if you think about the 80-20 rule for your posting, you know, like 80% is work, professional, I'm confident, you can trust me, I'm good at what I do, here's why, here's why, here's why. And then 20% is, oh, I like to horse ride, or, oh, I'm into skating at a roller skate park or whatever. Like that's 20% of life. So if you think about your posting, so out of 9, your grid of 9, maybe one of those or 2 of those pictures are you as a person. Yeah. And the rest is like, okay, let's hone in your professionalism and your talents.
Yeah, it shows how serious you are as well about what you do and who you are, doesn't it? I'm so big on keeping things positive as well, like put things out there that are positive.
So find your groove on your platform. Like for some people, they love to go on TikTok, right? Because it's like that platform was like made for performers. Like it's just made for it, like visually creative, the dancing, the singing, everything. Yeah. And you know, but it's also about like the language that you use and why you're like always ask, why am I posting this? Oh, I just want to get likes and followers. Oh, okay, that could be within your 20% of your posting, you know, your 20 out of the 80-20. But if you're going to post on TikTok, fine, post on TikTok, but how can you relate it back to you and your profession? Even if it's fun or it's like silly, like what's the caption about? How can you relate that back to you as a professional performer?
Yeah.
So it can still be fun. It doesn't all have to be, I'm a very serious, look at me how amazing I am. It can still be fun, trending, and be relevant, but it's just about the language you use around yourself and how can you direct it back to you being great and confident and a good performer, and why are you posting it is always the 2 questions I would ask.
Yeah. So let's jump back to the Showbiz Clinic. So those that might be maybe interested in the Showbiz Clinic, what you do, can you kind of guide us, tell us a little bit about your membership and everything like that?
Totally. So if anyone wants to check it out, it's theshowbizclinic.com. And there's a membership program and there's online courses. We've also got a Showbiz shop now, which is pretty fun. So there's like some digital resources on there. just to help you with any goal setting, wellness ideas, understanding how to like structure yourself as a business. So that digital stuff's actually really interesting and super easy to access. The online courses is called the Showbiz 360 Intensive. And that's where I really break down, it's like a 10-part lessons, break down all the sort of business basics, showbiz basics, I call it, on USPs, networking, website training, money mindset, and there's more, and some Q&As with myself and some industry people. So that's been really, really well received. It's called the Showbiz 360 Intensive. And then there's the membership, which is like my little baby, because I've got some of these members have been with me for the last, 14 months, 15 months now. And they come every Monday, and we meet every Monday, and we have a chat about different topics, or I get industry people in, or I get, I do a mastermind with them. So they discuss any roadblocks they're having. We do show reel and share. So if anyone wants a new show reel made, or has just made one, or they were trying to tweak it and they want some advice. It's a really lovely international community, and they're so supportive, and they're just there to be accountable, to help you be accountable. The membership is about accountability, like for you to have a bit of some guidance, like lots of strategies and guidance and support and resources. And inside the membership, you get access to all the different courses that I've got. So like mini courses all in there, as well as the meetups as well. So it's it's definitely my little baby, and I really, really do adore chatting with the members. And so if anybody's interested, you can contact us via the website, which is theshowbizclinic.com.
Awesome. You've got loads of different resources as well. You've got like audiobooks and ebooks and things, haven't you? And the members get offers, don't they, on certain they get money off of different sort of partners, don't they?
They do indeed. We partner with yourself, and they get, there's other industry people that they do get exclusive access to these discounts because they're members as well. So it's always good for performers, and saving a little bit of cash here and there is always good, but getting access to really good services. No,
that's good. It's nice to like have some little perks, as well as you being held accountable, and everything out there is slightly more accessible as well.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Okay, I've got one last question for you, which I've been asking everyone and will continue to ask everyone. It's not at all industry related. It's just a fun question. If you could have dinner with anyone, past or alive, who would it be?
Oh, what a question. I really, let me think. I'm trying to think of like, I'm trying to not choose really hot male film stars that I find attractive. I have mentioned her a few times, but Patti LuPone is just such a big inspiration to me, because she's just such a ledge. And I just feel like I'd love to be alone with her, pick her brain about, what is her journey? Like, how does her mind works? Because I think, she recently played an amazing character. I think in Hollywood, the series that was on Netflix. And I just, to go from her, Jewish background to Broadway, gold dust to Netflix. And I'd probably love to chat to her. I'm slightly obsessed with her.
Yeah, no, that's a good choice. I'm sure she has got some incredible stories to share as well.
Yeah. Actually, a friend of mine was her PA for a while. So I did get some insight into her mind a little bit.
Oh, some insider information. Wow.
Yeah.
I'd love to be a fly on the wall in her dressing room.
Yeah.
Awesome. That's a good choice. Right, well, thank you so much, Xena, for joining me. Hopefully, if you're watching this, you have found it useful. You've taken some information that you can now go and implement, or you can at least think about, you can let settle in your brain. If you liked this video, then please do give us a like, leave us a comment, and share with friends or anyone who you think might find it useful. Thank you so much for joining us, and I'll see you on the next episode. Bye.
Bye.